All right, let's get right into it. The reality is, at the end of 2025, the average American professional is basically running a financial system that was designed for 1993. So, no, this is not another list of tips. This is the rebuild. First, we have to start with the raw data. As of right now, end of 2025, total household debt in the United States is sitting at $18.8 trillion. And to put that in perspective, that's a $4.6 trillion jump in just 6 years. Now, if you look at the other side of the ledger, the personal savings rate is just 4.5%. You have to think of this number like a critical system diagnostic, and right now it is flashing bright red. And here is the cost of carrying that debt. The average credit card APR is now 20.97%. So what does that actually mean? Well, if you're carrying the median balance, which is about $6,500, it's costing you over $1,300 a year. That's not just debt, it's a slow, constant leak in the system. So let's be absolutely clear about what we're doing here. This is not a motivational speech. This is an engineering audit. We are going to systematically break down the mechanical failures, identify the neurological glitches, and then we're going to install a brand new system built on 2026 federal law that's designed to close every single one of those gaps. Okay, part 1, the diagnosis. First, we need to understand exactly why the current system is broken, and more importantly, how it's mechanically draining wealth from the very people trying to operate it. Now, what's really fascinating here is the gap. You see the current savings rate at 4.5%, but the historical average going all the way back to 1959 is 8.4%. For a household that earns, say, $70,000 a year, that difference, well, it translates to $268 a month in lost savings. That's not a strategy for building wealth. That's just a drift. And this visualizes the outcome perfectly. The median 401k balance is just a little over $44,000. The average, over $167,000. You see that massive gap? That is the mathematical fingerprint of what we call a case-shaped economy. Look, this isn't a discipline problem for individuals. This is a system design problem. A broken system produces a broken result every single time. So that brings up the question, why does this broken system stick around? Before we can install a new one, we absolutely have to address the internal glitch. The reason the old system just keeps reinstalling itself. And it turns out it's in our own wiring. So there's this cognitive bias. It's called hyperbolic discounting. And to put it simply, it just means that we humans are neurologically wired to care way more about immediate rewards than some bigger reward in the future. Now, this isn't you being irrational. It's biological. A 2025 study that looked at over 100,000 securities accounts proved this conclusively. Think about it like this. There's a conflict happening inside your own head. You've got your prefrontal cortex, which is built for long-term strategic planning. But then you have your amygdala, which handles immediate threats and rewards. And it almost always overpowers the prefrontal cortex when you're stressed or tired. So every time you open a finance app after a really bad day, you're not operating in strategic mode, you're operating in emergency mode. And here's the crucial point. The fix is not more willpower. It's what's called a commitment device. You use automation to completely remove that "I want it now" decision from your amygdala's control. The system just fires without you. That is step 0. You automate every single action. Your brain is not consulted. Okay, so we've diagnosed the system and we've identified the glitch. Now we can finally open the toolkit. And this entire rebuild is possible because of a new legislative foundation, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, or OBBB, which was signed back in July 2025. What's so important about it? Well, it made the lower tax rates from 2017 permanent, and that gives us the stability we need to actually engineer a new financial system. So here it is, the blueprint, compressed into 5 core actions. Number 1, use the standard deduction as a shield. 2, maximize your retirement engine. 3, deploy an algorithmic tax harvester. 4, activate generational compounding. And number 5, the step that locks it all in place, you automate every single action. Let's talk real numbers, not theories. For 2026, the 401k contribution limit is now $24,500. So for a professional in the 32% tax bracket who maxes this out, that generates $7,840 in immediate tax savings. And let me be clear, that's not a projection. That is a direct reduction in your tax liability this year. Now we shift into third gear, the tax harvester. See, instead of just holding mutual funds, sophisticated portfolios now use something called separately managed accounts.
You can think of it as your own personal fund, and what this does is it allows an algorithm to perform daily tax loss harvesting. Here's how that works. The system sees a position that's down, so it sells it, booking that loss to cancel out taxes on other gains. Then, it immediately buys a very similar asset so you don't miss any market movement. The result? You're literally converting market volatility from a threat into a valuable tax asset.
The OBBAA also introduced a brand new vehicle, formerly called the American Start Account. For children born in a certain window, there's a $1,000 federal deposit right into an investment account. And the projections show that with maximum contributions, this one account can grow to over $300,000 by age 18 and then over $1 million by age 28. It is literally a 28-year compounding engine, and it's seeded with federal capital.
All right, now let's talk about the engine that drives all of this. It's a force that most people really misunderstand. Compounding does not move at a steady, linear rate. It accelerates.
Just look at this timeline. If you're investing $1,000 a month, your first $100,000 takes about 7.3 years to accumulate. But the second $100,000, that only takes 5.2 years. And the third, just 4.1 years. The engine literally gets faster and faster with the exact same fuel input. That is the physics of compounding.
And here is a precision variable that almost everyone completely ignores. When you invest matters. In this scenario, investing monthly, instead of just putting a lump sum in at the start of the year, resulted in an extra $80,000 over 30 years. And that money is generated entirely by reducing the delay, the time your capital is just sitting on the sidelines instead of being deployed.
So here's the bottom line. The legislation, it's in place. The investment vehicles are open, and they are ready to go. The compounding engine is running. The only variable left is the operator.
Look, if this audit was useful for you, the full breakdown of the 3-Fund Direct Indexing Blueprint is linked right in the description. We build these explainers for professionals who have decided to engineer their own outcome. So if you want the next system when it's ready, subscribe. We'll see you in the next build.